Paulo Costa beats Robert Whittaker, like, what does that mean for the division? And by the way, it's time to start talking about that fight. We're going to have to, but it's an awesome match. We have done nothing wrong. We, the community, deserve to look forward to it. But there's always a resistance, right? There is a flat deal, and there is a barter that takes place. There is an expectation we have from the promoter. And even if it's not discussed, even if it appears he's going to put a card together and you're going to give up 2 hours of your life and $50 of your time, that's not the exchange. That's only part of the exchange, right? We have certain things that we expect leading along the way that do what's called a value add. They help us to justify the $50. I don't love this card. I don't love all 5 of the fights like I do some nights. I'm this hypothetical. This particular card is not what I'm referencing. So you have something like that and you go, yeah, but boy, they did a great press conference. Boy, they did a great release. Oh, did you see the poster for this? And all of a sudden, now we just justified why you're getting the $50 in the 2 hours, right? It's just one of these situations, for example. But you have the same thing with the fighters. And we as a community never have elevated a fight above what the fighters attempted to do. In fact, it comes up a little bit short. Your great fights, your huge nights of business, one of the fighters, if not both of them, will come out and proclaim to the world, this is the biggest fight of all time. They will make that proclamation. It will generally come in short, but the claims were so incredible that it still does very well. We do not go in reverse, where the fighters don't come out and tell us to watch. Don't come out and tell us how important it is to them. Don't come out and tell us that they want to move needles and bring in attention. And then we go and do it anyway. Oh my God, hey, this is the one. This is the money fight. Hey, sponsors over there that said nothing about, hey, jump on board. Hey, Monster DraftKings, where you guys at? Hey, this is the one that doesn't work that way. Monster DraftKings is going to look around and go, they haven't reached out to us. And there's one of these exchanges, and these two guys have fallen drastically short. That's just the truth. I forget this fight is happening constantly, and it's an amazing match. And not only is it an amazing match, I believe it likely has consequences. Very likely. There is a major push behind Paulo Costa. You guys love him. I mean, this is a guy that he's had 2 nicknames, but that's a very real thing. You don't have 2 guys. You don't have a guy with 2 nicknames. Doesn't work that way. Like, that guy's got to be really well liked. They started calling him the Eraser, and then they just say, no, Terminator was better, or vice versa. Right? Like he was so well perceived. He had these 2 different groups trying to give him different monikers. I mean, there's a major base behind him. Now, what's the problem? Well, the problem comes with the other bargain, which is the one that you have with the promoter. The promoter has not given the same push to him. And why? Why? Well, the promoter doesn't know if he can. Paulo Costa has fought, and this is a statistic that would go back to when he was supposed to fight in October against Chimaev, and it was that he had fought 1 time in 11 months. But if you went back and found that fight, which was against Luke Rockhold in Salt Lake City, that was the bloodbath. Remember the Luke wiping the blood on? Remember that one? That's his last fight. Can you believe that? That was the night, to put in perspective for you, of the head kick heard around the world that Leon took the belt from Kamaru Usman in the 5th round. I mean, but to put in perspective, those guys finished up that piece of business with a trilogy, which fed into the next calendar year, which was last year of 2023, and then separated ways from each other completely. Came up with whole new plots and storylines, and executed them. That's how much time has gone by. So now you have the promoter going, hey, I don't know if I can push this guy. I got this beautiful man who is very clearly a champion on a given night. Whether he had Adesanya issues or not, he matches up very well. And we are two champions beyond Adesanya. I mean, you have something real special. You just have a promoter that's not... I mean, can I turn this guy around? Is this the kind of guy that if he goes out as a great win with Whittaker, just if, but if, right? But everything in promotion is off of if. It's the ultimate gamble. Is that the kind of guy I could put in a backup spot should I get Du Plessis and Izzy together by April? And I want that because I want that for Paulo Costa. I'm a very big Paulo Costa supporter. As you know, I've disclosed that. But if you're to look at history as the trajectory to the future, of course not. It wouldn't matter if it was a 5-second fight. The idea that you could turn him around in 60 days, if you're looking at history, the answer would be no. So now you have the bargain with the right? You see where the bargain starts to not be lived up to. And you start to have fans saying, man, this is one of the most epic fights. You have Robert Whittaker, who was champion, and you have Paulo Costa, who's likely to be champion. And I don't know how likely you want to agree with me and make that, but you would agree, right? We're a minimum bid will be at 20%. There's a 20% likelihood that he goes on to be champion. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And with the opportunities given to him, there's much closer to 90%. But think about that. How big of a fight is that? You have a guy who was champion, and he's going to take on a guy who you know is going to be champion, right? This is a super fight. Champion versus champion. Like, it's going to look so beautiful. Much like a fine wine. It's going to look better the more time we put between it, particularly if the scenario I just gave you laid out, and we all know it. And we've all looked forward to it. And we've all wanted it. And they've hinted at this fight for a period of time, and we finally got it. But it's just one of those spots where you're just not going to get... Robert Whittaker is just not going to come out and tell you who, what, when, why, or where. He's not going to do... I just saw Robert Whittaker, by the way. Just photos of him online. Oh my goodness, he looks good. Like, you would expect anybody versus Paulo Costa to lose the pose off. I'm telling you, I mean, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, if to look at a guy's body and his level of fitness and be able to judge his dedication and his focus and his sincerity towards outcome, I would put this as the best Robert Whittaker's looked in his life. Yes, I would. And that's a very big statement because Robert Whittaker's never had his ass kicked. Now, if you saw his first time with Izzy, you see there's an exception. But aside from that, and he's lost before, he's never had his ass kicked. He even got in there with Izzy. I thought he won the fight. I thought the second fight, it was 3 rounds to 2, and they were going to say, and new. But that just talks about the gap, right? That talks about a gap that Robert Whittaker, when he zeroes in, is able to close. And even if it's not a rematch, even if Whittaker's not going from Du Plessis, where he got his ass kicked, back into Du Plessis, it's still a return, man. It might not be a rematch, but it's his return. If you go look at his physique, just his physique, I'm telling you right now, he is not looking to stub his toe twice. It's a really fascinating match, but there's a deal. And they've broke it. But we deserve to enjoy it anyway.